Hi, Rob again with STC International Shipping, talking about Mexico, shipping your household goods from the United States to Mexico. Now, this is segment two. This is a segment I like to call sort of the nuts and bolts of your shipment. And these are items or subjects that come up all the time. And I think they're important for you to understand and know a little bit about in terms of the process. So let's start with the first one. What can I ship to Mexico? What items can I ship? And before I answer that, let's step back a minute and talk about define what we're doing. We're shipping used household goods and personal effects from the United States to Mexico, from your residence in the United States, legally to your new residence in Mexico. When I say legally, I mean, it's everything's above board. This is you have a temporary resident visa, or you have a permanent resident visa, or you're a returning citizen. And again, you're moving your used household goods for that purpose. Let's define used. Used is defined as 6 months old or older. Any less than that is going to be classified as new in the eyes of Mexican customs. And so they're going to look at that and potentially, assess a tax, a duty upon those items. So we want to be moving used 6 months old or older household goods and personal effects. Okay, so that's kind of key. Now let's talk about what you can move. This question comes up all the time. What can I take with me? Well, easier for me to answer that by saying I'll give you a list of the common items, the most important items that cannot be shipped, and we shouldn't be trying to ship as part of this shipment. I'm not saying that they can't go, they might, but for the purpose of what we're talking about, moving your household goods from one place to the other, crossing the border duty free, these items certainly shouldn't be part of that. The first is firearms. I think everyone knows firearms can't ship to Mexico. Ammunition for said firearms, don't do that. Explosives, currency, marketable securities, precious metals, loose gemstones, rubies and diamonds. Don't send those. That's going to be a big red flag and create problems. Pornographic material, prescription medications. I'm not saying that those can't be shipped again. They can, but just not as part of your household goods shipment. What we're talking about. Foods. Don't send foods, including canned goods. Beverages. Don't send beverages, including beer, wine, spirits. That's going to create a problem as well. Nutritional supplements like protein powders, big things of vitamins, branched chain amino acids. If you're a big gym person, you'll know what that is. So no nutritional supplements. Spices, toiletries, consumable items like paper towels, napkins, diapers, things like that. Those can create a problem and incur a duty as well. Cosmetics, diapers, batteries, cleaning liquids, hunting trophies, taxidermy items. Don't send that deer head that you have on the wall or stuffed polar bear to Mexico. That's not going to fly either. Flammable items, toxic items. These are pretty obvious. Any parts, motorcycle, car, or boat parts. That's no good. And I'll also say this, and we'll talk a little bit more about this in more specificity, but shipping as part of your household good shipment from the United States to Mexico, cars, motorcycles, or boats, I put those, unless you are a diplomat, I put those in the category of cannot ship. I think that's important to understand. This is just my experience, and I think this is sage advice. Those do not ship unless you're a diplomat. It's going to be the challenges and the time and the cost, and ultimately potentially having to ship it back to the United States at a whole nother cost. It's just not worth it. Unless you're a diplomat, don't be shipping your vehicles down to Mexico. It's just not worth it. Let's talk about packing and protecting. So packing and protecting your goods that are going from the United States to Mexico. Two different things. Very, very related. So protecting. Let's talk about protecting. Protecting refers to anything that's a desk or a chair, or in your home, a mattress, a bed, a coffee table, a sofa, things of that nature. At SDC, automatic, we wrap and protect those items appropriately. When I say appropriately, obviously I'm going to do something different with a mattress in terms of protection, probably, than I would a coffee table, than I would an office chair, than I would a delicate glass curio cabinet or a sculpture. So things that do not go in boxes, they are exposed, they're furniture items. They are wrapped and protected appropriately based on the need, and the ultimate deliverable is point A, the origin point in the United States, point B in Mexico, exactly identical situation and condition both places, okay? Now, let's talk about packing. When we talk about packing, I'm talking about three-dimensional boxes, things that go in a moving box. Now, a couple ways to handle that. The owner, the client, you can pack the box. If you've got the boxes and you've got the expertise and you've got the packing material, by all means, perfectly acceptable. Or the agent can pack. We can do the packing and the professional inventory list. Either way, that's your option. You can choose that. Now, there's a third option, which is sort of a hybrid. I have a lot of clients that'll say, Rob, I want to pack everything myself because it's not delicate, my shoes and my books and my whatever. But I would like your team at SDC, to pack these 4 or these 6 or these 8, whatever it is, boxes or items, because they're delicate and I do want insurance on those items. And we can do that. We can do a hybrid. Now, let's talk about insurance. For items that are not in a box, again, the desk, the chair, the exposed items, those are automatically eligible for full coverage insurance. Items that are in a box, to be eligible for full coverage insurance, they must have been packed by an agent. That's not my rule. That is an insurance industry underwriting rule. And so that is why some clients will say, these 4 boxes I want you to pack, because I do want those to be eligible for full coverage insurance. They're delicate, they're valuable, whatever the reason is. So hopefully that explains a little bit about packing and protecting and a little bit about insurance. Let's talk about how we ship things to Mexico. Many people are surprised when I let them know that 90% of what we ship to Mexico is over the road. It doesn't matter if it's from New York or Atlanta or Dallas or Los Angeles. It's going to go over the road, 90%. Not all, 90%. And the reason for that is it's just more economical and economical, efficient, and it works out. So the reason I mention that is because you really want to make sure that you're working with a company, because most items are shipped over the road, that they really understand how to pack things appropriately, protect things appropriately. They're using the right equipment, to include trucks, to get things over the road. And that is because you might understand that not all roads in Mexico are perfectly smooth. Not necessarily. I'm not saying anything bad, but they're not necessarily perfectly smooth. So it's really important to have the right equipment, everything packed the right way, protected the right way, and shipped in the right vehicles, so that, again, they start at point A, arrive in point B the exact same way. That's critically important, knowing that 90% of shipments are going to go over road. Now, shipping by ocean to Mexico, it happens. We do it all the time. In certain situations when it makes sense economically and otherwise. Maybe I'll ship something from Miami at the port of Veracruz, clear customs there, and take it overland to the door, wherever that may be, maybe Playa del Carmen. And so we certainly do that. Experts at doing it. Same idea does apply, though, because it's still going to be an over-the-road piece. By way of air, the minority, it's less. It happens less often, but we do ship quite a bit by way of air to Mexico, usually when time is of the essence, and we'll ship to a major airport in Mexico. Everything else applies. So we pick up, we pack, we protect, we palletize, make sure it gets on the plane, gets to the airport. We clear customs at the airport rather than at the border or at the ocean port. and take that to the door. Or some clients will say it's not that much. It's it's a pallet or 2 pallets. I will. The client will say this. We'll clear customs at the airport and take it on our own. Whatever needs to be done, we can handle any situation. So let's go back to vehicles to Mexico. As I mentioned, unless you're a diplomat, I do not recommend shipping a vehicle to Mexico. Now, if you are there temporarily, you can drive your vehicle in, fill out all the paperwork, and make sure all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted, and register your vehicle temporarily in Mexico. I think the registration lasts for 180 days, and I know of people who do this, and then they renew the registration every 180 days for a while. But in terms of actually shipping your vehicle, from point A to point B as part of your move, and titling it in Mexico, registering it in Mexico, unless you're a diplomat, I really don't recommend that. And in fact, as I've said before, I put that on the list of cannot ships. I wouldn't do it. Your car, your motorcycle, your boat, it really isn't worth it. And I'm just being honest, to save everyone heartache in that area. Finally, let's talk about some things beyond just basic household goods being shipped down to Mexico, things that we specialize in, we do all the time. First of all, artwork. We do a lot of artwork, and everything from basic protection to soft crating with acid-free paper and making sure things are taken care of, all the way up to custom hard crates for artwork. We do that, both wall art, framed wall art, and sculptures. Musical instruments to include pianos, upright, baby grand, full grand pianos. We do that. We're expert in making that happen. We do it all the time. Billiard tables, same idea. Pinball machines. It's kind of interesting, but we do a lot of pinball machines. Many people are moving their collectible kind of vintage pinball machines, not just to Mexico, all over the world. We move them, but those are really critical because you have to understand how to protect them the appropriate way, take them apart. There are a lot of moving parts that are very delicate. There's a lot of glass, and so. But we do specialize in that as well, and we can take care of your needs if you have such a need. Home gyms and exercise equipment, we take care of that as well. We do it all the time down to Mexico. So hopefully this has provided you a little bit more information in terms of the specificity and the nuts and bolts, so to speak, of moving things to Mexico. And I look forward to seeing you in the next segment.